So let's talk about the Legion 5 350 and 2060 laptop. Okay. First things first. This is the 15AK P10, not a HP10. So it has the AMD 350 CPU. That's what we are talking about. If it's the 250, 250 or 260, it's 260. If it's the 260 CPU, the review has already been done. It's already live, so check that if you're looking for that. However, okay, so this comes with 5050, 5060 and 5070, and with only an OLED panel. The 250 comes with the 5050, 5060 with both an IPS or an OLED panel. Okay, so that was the main thing. Now summary. This laptop is very close to the Legion 5 250 5060. So in case I miss something apart from the CPU performance and CPU temperatures and yeah, main those things, if I miss something you want to know in more details, it's already covered on the other blog. Okay, however I will still try my best to cover everything here. This is an easy recommendation, especially for students, especially who need good battery life while they're moving around, and still lightweight enough to put it in the bag and move freely while still having decent performance, so they don't miss out on something. So an easy recommendation for those kind of scenario. Good ports, comfortable keyboard, RAM, SSD upgrades, GPU is good, whichever one you get. CPU, AMD's this CPU means good battery performance for a gaming laptop. Of course you can't compare it to a thin and light, we will go into that later. OLED panel is excellent given you can use it without reflections. Okay, so it is a highly reflective display. Okay, they are usually glossy, but on this Legion it's very glossy, very reflective. So if you intend to use the laptop for a long time, wherever you are going to use it, make sure that room doesn't have a lot of reflections. Try to reduce that, or outside. Yeah, CPU is a bit better than the Legion 260. I have misspelled it everywhere. I will fix that. But yeah, it is better than the 260, about 10% more in single core performance. There is no VRAM changes between the 5050, 5060 and 5070, which means all it comes down to is how much money can you give for a laptop for the next upgrade. So just immediately let's get into this. So you can see 5050, 5060 and 5070 all come with 8 GB VRAM, all are 100 watts, and the mainly difference is between the graphics performance. So if you are in a region where you get a 5050 and you are looking to pay for 5060, about 30% should be the maximum that you should. Okay, nothing more than that. If you are getting a 5060 for some price and the 5070 is about 20% more, you can consider it. And if you are in the 5070 range, okay, and remember that the VRAM goes from 8 to 12 GB, going from 5070 to 5070 Ti. So if you are looking for the 5070 variant of this laptop, do consider other laptops if the 5070 Ti is in your budget or not. Okay, so those are the three main things. It all comes down to price there. Caution, important things that you should know if you are buying this: it is OLED, so make sure that you are not affected by PWM dimming, fast flickering of the light to reduce brightness. Make sure you are not affected by it before you buy it. Okay, and two vents. So regular, if you live in a place where it is very dirty, you will need to clean the laptop fans fairly regularly. If you live in a dusty place, using that place, because it just have two exhaust, it will choke up quicker than something that had a four vent. There are very good reasons to turn off DLSS. Okay, so do not take DLSS benchmarks as a metric for comparison between many laptops. Just ignore DLSS completely. Okay, It might be good, it might be bad, you might use it, you might not, but there are very good reasons that you might be forced to turn it off, like bringing significant stutters and freezes. This is the main problem when turning DLSS, and it can ruin a lot of games. Anything also, it looks terrible. Many people, when they turn it on, they say it for the first time, they just turn it off, and the motion sickness. So those are all. My point is that just don't check the DLSS benchmark, check the raw performance and compare that. Even though the laptop says it has a PD charging of 140 watt, it is only with Lenovo's own adapter that is hard to find in many places. And for everyone else, most people, it's only 100 watt from PD. Although the CPU is pretty efficient, 25 watt, it gives decent performance. GPU is still all right at lower wattages. Other things also need power, so you will be using, if you plan on using with a PD charger, external charger, it will not be that much of a performance. Okay, so pros, cons, let's immediately get into this. Pros: CPU 350, 10% more performance than the 260 CPU that we talked about in the Legion. It gives maximum performance at 65 watt only compared to the 260, so that's the main difference. Okay, it's a newer generation of the CPU, 350, I think Gen 5, I guess. Anyways, so it only gives you full performance of 65 watts itself, where the 260, it needed to push more than 75 watts. So this, what does this mean? This means higher performance at lower temperature. Basically that's what it means. Even in custom extreme mode, when you run CPU GPU combined, so in sort of any normal game, AAA game or something, CPU barely crosses 70 degrees. Okay, so CPU differences between balanced performance custom extreme mode is only 3%, so you get maximum performance in all mode. 5070, 5060 and 5050 all are full powered, all give their consistent performance. And the extra GPU, the memory banks beside the GPU, they all have lower temperature compared to other laptops which I have seen. And anything else? Nah, nothing more. Battery 80 watt hour. This is by Lenovo, 5.7 hours in a normal use case. Watching YouTube 10 hours, LN hour local video, payback at 115 3 hour plus Witcher 3 gaming. You should not game on your gaming laptop, but let's say if it's a lower title and you need to run it on the iGPU, remember this CPU has a very powerful iGPU, almost close to a 2050 GPU. So even if you are on a battery power and you have turned off the 5000 series NVIDIA graphics card, you're still getting a lot of graphics performance. IR camera, so flip open the lid, it logins you automatically. Laptop itself is just 1.9 kgs. High system gaming performance, relatively small size for a 15-inch laptop. Usually 15-inch laptops are big. OLED display, very accurate, very colorful, punchy colors, no problem you will have. It's accurate to the level of doing any professional video or photo editing. Okay, very good, bright, high performance. So yeah, it's a joy to work if you can work with the reflectiveness. Better good air circulation and performance compared to the last Legion, which was not that good. Good maintenance option. Keyboard is pretty good, pretty big. USB connectivity, one USB 4 is 40 Gbps. Good sturdy laptop, no creaking noise. Upgradable RAM, SSD, these are normal things. Good touchpad, as long as you do not press down, just tap and use it. Aluminum for the lid, plastic for the body. The plastic is hard plastics, not a thin and weak plastic. It's best to check it offline. USB 4 is connected to the iGPU, so in rare cases when you have to plug in an external display while your laptop is on battery, you can just plug it onto the USB 4 port and you will still have good battery life. Included SSD is of good speed. In different markets Wi-Fi speeds are okay, it varies depending on the region, but still. No SD card reader. Camera is just usable. Ports are all around the laptop, so you can't just no clean setup. On the back there is only HDMI and power port. no USB, so no clean setup. Bottom side gets heated up during high performance, so don't use the laptop while plugged in on your lap. Cons: CPU performance is almost the same when compared to in multi-core, almost the same as a 250 or a 8845HS or 7840HS or even 13700H in multi-core. When you start comparing it to single core, it's still around that 13650HX, a bit more. Lack of foresight advent, I have already told this, and aggressive Lenovo's aggressive CPU tuning and aggressive temperature limits by Lenovo means if you want to push this laptop by putting a lot of wattage in the CPU by going into custom maxed out mode, you can do it. You will gain no extra performance, just the CPU will hit a lot. So there is no need to do this, but just know that since Lenovo is have aggressively tuned the CPU, it might be hurtful to your laptop. Okay, so don't do that. Don't go into custom and max out everything, at least for the CPU. It doesn't need to, as we will see here. No advanced Optimus, so switching between the iGPU and DGPU from hybrid to mux or any sort of operation, you will need to require a restart. Why would you do that? To get more battery life. Speakers are just okay, that's a big con. Okay, normally you expect Legions to have good speakers. It doesn't have that good a speaker. Okay, you can see in maxed out performance, custom extreme performance, they give maximum performance even in performance mode. So maxed out, custom extreme, performance mode, there is no CPU performance drop at all. Even in balance, it's just 3% performance drop. So you do not need to push the CPU at all. This CPU score is close to a 13650HX, at least in the multi-core. Single, I think almost here. I think this is 14700HX. No, 14650HX, yes. So anyways, 5050, 5060, 5070, we already talked about this earlier. Let's immediately go into some other things. PTM, oh yeah, I think I have already covered this. I don't need to go into this. We already talked about this. One important thing, that if you are looking to buy this laptop and you just find a 5070 Ti with more power, like 150 watts. If you can find that laptop to be in your budget instead of going for this 5070, it will be far better for you both in performance and in VRAM. Okay, the 5070, 5060 and 5050 graphs are almost just a bit different. That's the battery life thing. Let's wrap this up. What's the important thing that you need to know? If you intend to use this laptop as a laptop, so you take the laptop out, you go to classes or you go to work, okay, and you have to use it for a few hours without plugging in the charger. Some light workload, little bit works here, programming in office and that all is fine. When you come home, you plug it in, you can just play games and do everything. So when you intend to use this laptop as a laptop, okay, it's a good machine. It's a good machine. The problem with many recent laptops, especially Intel laptops, you will see that even the last Legion 7 IS, it had a 400 watt charger, very big charger. And also apart from that, the temperatures are very high. The fans always ramp up. Everything is designed to kill the battery fast. Okay, so at least in this, and also they are heavy and bulky. So at least in terms of just using the laptop as a laptop is intended to be used, put it in a bag, take it out, use a few hours without battery, if needed plug it in that use case, this is great. Of course, you lose a bit of CPU performance compared to Intel, but you do not have to worry about the high temperature instability or long-term version of the Intel that I always say. So with that, let's wrap it up.